Hey, what's up guys? Christian over at Enfig Car Stereo. Today we're in a 2008 Audi TT and we're going to show you how to install an aftermarket radio. Alright guys, so in this car we're going to install a Sony XAV AX5000. It's Carplay and Android Auto radio that looks pretty clean. The only thing it's pretty much missing is wireless CarPlay. So if you want to do wireless CarPlay, there's another radio. Check the website. We just started selling radio kits. So, we don't sell every radio out in the market. We sell a couple key radios that we recommend that we think fits most people's needs. So check out the website for that. But anyway, so in this car, let's cover the wiring first. So a couple things first that we're not going to install today. First of all, this is let me take it out of the bag. This is an Enfig SAA SIR 600. So what this is, in your trunk, there is a serious tuner, or if you don't have a tuner, there is a location for a tuner. So this will connect into the tuner that is used with an aftermarket radio, and then this connects to the antenna in the trunk. So this is a 2008 convertible, and it has the Sirius antenna built in. Another thing we're not going to use is a GPS antenna adapter. So if your car came with a factory GPS radio and you're installing a radio that comes with GPS, we have a adapter. Let me just brighten this up a little bit. It's a tiny bit dark. We have an adapter that allows you to use the antenna. So the antenna would come out of here, and you would use a little converter, and it would plug into the radio. All right. So now that we're done with all that, let's talk about the AM/FM antenna adapter. This is an Enfig AAA-VW-A85. So what it does is that you notice these are both AM/FM antenna connections. All right. So what you do is you put this in. All right. Make sure it goes all the way in. All right. Sometimes you need to give it a little force. Make sure the two ends are touching, and that locks into place. Okay. So now that you do that, this other end is a standard Motorola style. So what this does is does twofold. First of all, the box. This grabs power from the radio, sends it through the box, and then these two pins, the center pins, take power through the center pin out in order to turn on the boosters in the back. Now, this goes to the back of the radio, and this I'll get to in a second. Alright guys, so the next part of the install is wiring up the smart radio wiring harness. It's a SRWH-AUD3 high-low. There's a -2 in there. What the -2 does is that this little box can actually do voice dial now. So -2 is just so we know you got a voice dial version. You'll only see that as a SKU on the invoice. So what you're gonna do now is that if you see that this is a complete match, I'm just gonna cover a couple things here. On this car, so this car, since it has Bose, this is empty. All right, and then so these wires are not gonna go anywhere. If your car does not have Bose, then the front maybe or may not. Actually, this car doesn't have Bose, and it's fully amplified. I'm not sure if it's because it's convertible or not, but this harness is not just for a TT. It works with other Audi, so it's wired for everything. Also, on this harness, there are a couple of wires, so there's a couple of powers here that don't get used. So if you see that there's something not being used, don't freak out. As far as down here, this is all Sirius XM audio, and then your CD changer in the trunk. iPod dock in the glove box for this model. Been doing this way too long. And these are all phones, so that's what phone, and also your amplifier gets in. So if you look at here, there's nothing connected to the blue ones, and not every pin is filled on this side. Only the amplifier ones. The phone ones will not be filled. I just cover that right now because a lot of people call me and they say I got the wrong harness, it doesn't fit, things are missing. So cover that first. So that's a connection. Now over here, this is our high-low box. This is why everyone buys our stuff. What this box does is it fixes the audio issues. So what happens is the Audis kick out a lot more voltage out of the factory radio to go into the amplifier than RCA's out of radios. Even a 5-volt radio, because I have a couple 5-volt radios that come out, they still sound better and require the high-low. Now, the adjustments on here, we usually say leave them halfway, but you can also lower them. It just kind of depends. The problem is that depending on which radio you get, they all have different outputs. So how you adjust this is really radio specific, so it's hard to tell. But check the website. I'll write something up that helps you adjust it better. Now, so that's a high-low box. The high-low box gets tucked behind right, to the right, there's plenty of room. Get it out of the way. Put it sideways there. There's plenty of room in this cabinet, so you don't have to worry about that. So now this is the SRWH Smart Radio Wiring Harness Box. As we call it the small box if we talk to us. So what this box does, this is constant power and this is ground, okay? Now this is CAN high, CAN low. These are data wires. So these are two wires that tell your radio to turn on, to turn off, that you're in reverse, the vehicle speed sense, the parking brake, and also tells your radio to turn on and off. So most important on this is turn on and off, and also the orange wire is the dimmer. So when you turn on your headlights, it dims the radio, okay? Red is on and off. Green is vehicle speed sense. Some Pioneer radios need it. Most other radios don't. Purple and white is reverse. And this is the parking brake. Okay. Now, this box also does your steering wheel controls. So, what it does, I don't know if I skipped it. Today, it's the middle of the day, and I have to answer phone calls between this video. So what ends up happening is that I lose track. Sometimes I'll disappear for a half hour. So power, ground, CAN bus in, and then these wires, box reads it and spits out these wires, okay? These wires are not behind the radio. They're handled by data, so this box is a CAN bus decoder, I guess you want to call it. All right, so the box also handles the steering controls. You know, why have two boxes when you can do them all in one? You know, some companies want to sell you two boxes. We just sell you this extra cable, this extra. This is an SWCL Sony. What this does is that it has a correct head for a Sony radio. And also these little loops that you see buried in here, they actually tell the radio, the box what radio it's on. So you're gonna plug this in here. All right, this is specific for Sony, and then you're gonna unplug it, wait 5 seconds, and when you plug it back in, okay. Now, when this yellow and black touch the box, it reads the loops, and now it tells it you're Sony, so you're good. All right, so this is the headphone jack. All right. Now over here, what we have is remember the wires I told you before? It's the vehicle speed sense, reverse, parking brake, and this is an amplifier turn on. Amplifier turn on wire, this must be connected to known Audis. If you do not connect it, you will get no sound. It's important because we put a sticker on it, because whenever we used to get a call, this is what they all used to say. I have no audio, did you hook up the wire? No, I didn't know I had to. So that's why I'm making a very big point to make sure that you know. Over here, this is a Blaupunk style connector. So what happens, Blaupunk used to be the #1 German radio company manufacturer. They actually stopped. Sorry, give me 1 second. Oh, you can see that in the video. Alright, it's low bright. It's Blaupunk. Blaupunk make the radio for this car. So Blaupunk, since they made a lot of German car radios, we used to recommend a lot of Blaupunk radios. But then what happened was, Blaupunk now, if you buy Blaupunk now, it's the same sticker, but they're Chinese radios that just say Blaupunk on them. From what I've heard, Blaupunk just makes parts for RV buses, like big buses. So some radios, I know there's a JVC plane going by right next to the airport. So some radios like JVC, there's one JVC model that uses this. Some of the Chinese radios use this. Don't buy a Chinese radio. Do yourself a favor. I don't like them. I won't install them here. There's just too many headaches. So this is a Blaupunk connector. So if you're not installing a radio that has this pin out, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to buy a converter. There's different converters for different radios. Not all Sony radios are the same converter. For Sony, I think we have 3 or 4. For Pioneer, I think we have like 7 or 8. So the different radios use different ones. Don't guess. If you don't see the radio that you're installing, send us an email and we'll figure it out for you. So this is a PMP Sony 0028. This end is a copy of the end that comes with the radio. All right. So what you're gonna do is this goes here, this goes here, okay, and it converts the Blaupunk end to a Sony end. All right. So now you're gonna have the amplifier turn on, which always gets connected. All right. And then the parking brake, which always gets connected as long as you're doing a radio with a screen. And there's a new radio just came out, actually, a single DIN Pioneer, I think, that has a parking brake wire. Because I don't know how I haven't used it yet, but it's meant to hold your phone up. So purple and white is the reverse wire that tells the camera you're in reverse. Pop that bad boy in right there. Okay. Now, pink is vehicle speed sense. Don't hook this up to any other wire except for vehicle speed sense. It's actually pretty funny. If you install a Pioneer radio, like a not NEX radio, they have yellow and black wire. That is the mute wire. Funny thing about this is that the way this works, it goes positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative until how fast the car is going. So if you hook up the mute wire to this, guess what happens? Everything works, but as soon as the car moves, it mutes the audio. So people call me up all the time and they tell me, hey, I hooked, everything works, but when I move the car, it stops. So let's see what are the chances of my mailman walking by and saying something funny, so I don't have to restart the video. So what ends up happening? Oh, he's a good boy. He was quiet. Thank you, Mr. Mailman.
I'm like, I didn't want to say it loud. I don't know if he was recording.
I am recording, and you're going to make it to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So,
Probably picked up the yuppie thing. But...
So, don't hook up the pink wire unless you have to hook it up. And the only thing else too is the antenna amplifier. Remember how I told you before, the antenna adapter / amplifier, this wire. So on the plug and play, the opposite side of the plug and play. So you're gonna flip it, okay? Over here, and you see the little knocking tab? You can see that right on the thing. All right. So you're gonna install this with the notch facing the red wire. Okay, boom. And then this, boom, goes in there. All right. So now, when you do this, this grabs the wire over here. So the way this works is that the Pioneer unit, Pioneer only has one. Some radios have different amplifier and antenna turn-ons. Pioneer only has one. So what we did to make it easy is that it goes in here and then splits off over here to power the amplifier, and it goes through here to power the antenna amplifier. This is the audio amplifier. This is the antenna amplifier. So that's that. Now that pretty much covers all the wiring. Believe it or not, it's that easy. Let me go check on a microphone we're making, and we'll come back and we'll finish the installation. Alright guys, so I shoved all the wiring in. So now we're going to start mounting the radio. The first thing about the radio we're going to mount is the cage. So if you look at this cage, it has, the plastic. It has two hooks that are designed specifically for the car. One thing though, remember this thing we disconnected? You're going to disconnect it, make sure the key is out of the ignition, because you don't want to trip an airbag light. This day and age is not that expensive to reset it, so if you do make a mistake, just give me a call. I'll help you out. So what we're going to do here is we're going to push this all the way in. All right. Now, I just saw that little thing go bloop. So we're going to grab that, make sure it's good. And then over here, you're going to make sure it grabs the two little hooks. All right. It's all right that it flaps out a little bit like this. Everything else holds in. Another thing is down here. Oh, that's what it is. Sorry. So make sure that this little piece right here meets with the thing. All right, because this little piece right here can be a pain in the butt. So now the little piece that we just took out, there's a piece of plastic down here that can pop off. So you got to make sure that meets with the butt of the kit. Okay. So now this goes right back in, and this little airbag light just pops right in there. Boom. All right. Now we get to mount the radio and the cage and all that. So let me mount the radio off camera so it takes so long. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so next part of the installation is the cage. If you get the cage, you got to make sure it goes in here. All right. It's a little tight, so make sure it goes in. Now very important, when you get the cage in, make sure you don't clip any wires, number one. Number two, you want to make sure that you have even spacing over here when you bend the tabs. So what happens if you bend the tabs up top or in the bottom too much, it warps. So when it warps, it's hard to get the two things. First of all, it's hard to get the trim piece on, and number two, if you do a radio with a face that opens, it's hard to get the face to open. So you always want to make sure, like the screwdriver here, that you see right here, this gap up here is much. I'm going to put the screwdriver there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down here. I still wanted the screen turned down for what, but I was like, that's just silly. Alright, so I go here. Alright, once you bend, you'll see it starts moving. So right now we're evenly gapped, but then as soon as I go to bend the ones up here, alright, so just when you pull, you don't go too crazy with the bending, because to be honest with you, it's already pretty tight, and when you put the radio in, it's going to expand and everything's going to hold up. So now that we got that cage, and I'm looking around the cage has pretty even spacing. This one's a little low. I'm going to pop that. Still a little low. So we're going to twist it here. Alright. And now. Alright. So we're all pretty good. See, this moving up and down isn't crazy. This moving around isn't crazy. So let's go get the radio and push it in. Alright guys, so here's the Sony XAV X5000. Good thing about this radio is it has no bottom. There's plenty of room to put everything. Now, to be honest with you, this car is getting a Pioneer wireless CarPlay radio. The reason we did the installation with this video is this radio, because this is a cheaper radio and a better selling radio just because of the price point. The other radio is better, but most of you guys are going to get this radio because of the price point. Alright, so now the USBs, you're going to do is you're going to mount them into the glove box. Just make sure we get this over here. Alright, you're going to mount it into the glove box. Or you could run it down the side into the side console. We have another video that shows a radio installation. I'm kind of running out of time with this car, so I don't want the car to be in pieces when the customer shows up, so I'm not going to show you how to run the USB down below. Check out the other video. Funny enough, the other video is also with a half radio, but that one's an Alpine. Alright, so the plug and play goes into here. Okay. Now the AM/FM antenna adapter. Alright, you pull that out of there. That goes into this hole over here. Alright, this is where the AM/FM goes. Alright. I'm gonna get this tape out of here. Alright. And then over here is the mic. Alright, so we ran a custom microphone up. Check out that video too. For you guys that don't know, this is like the crossover. I was watching Arrow, and then I'm like, did I fall asleep and miss episodes? I'm up to season 7, I think, 6. No, season 4, 5. And I'm like, and then now I realize I do crossover episodes. So over here we had the wired remote. For you guys, this is a very long wire because obviously you don't want it to come apart, so that's where wired remote goes. Alright, this is Sirius XM. This is where the tuner would go. This is, I don't know what that port is used for. If you're doing a backup camera, that goes here, but that's it. So now we're going to shove all this back in here. What I would do to this connector, I usually tie them to something. Actually USB, because USB doesn't come out. Get electrical tape and tie them here, so that way they don't fall out. Alright. Now everything's plugged in, make sure everything's out of the way. And DHL is here, so I'm going to have to go get this package. Just push this in. Alright, now that snaps right in. Let me go get the trim piece. Alright, so this is the trim piece. Now this is a little bit tricky part because the trim piece fits pretty snug. So usually we do one side. Actually on this radio, do the bottom first. Oh, wasn't too tricky this time. Alright, so that's it. Now we wipe. That was actually a first try. Let me wipe the, actually, you know what? Whoops. Oh, there he goes. Thank you. Oh, I dropped it. It's a Friday afternoon and it's crunch time. Customer's going to be here in a half hour, 45 minutes, and we still got to swap out for his radio. Alright guys, so that's the radio installation. I'm going to take a couple pictures. I'm going to show you how it works. Also, the funny thing is that I have to connect my phone to take CarPlay pictures with this, and I forgot to run the cable to the glove box. Dun, dun. All right, let me come back. Let me pop this out, plug in my phone, and let me show you how to program the steering wheel controls. All right, guys. So now I'm going to show you how to program the steering wheel controls. It's pretty easy in this car. You're going to hit the home page, and then you're going to go to settings, and then when you're in settings, you go to general. Now, first you're going to do is you're going to turn off the demo because the demo's annoying. Then you're going to go to steering controls, and then it's set to preset. What happens is that Sony changed their steering controls for this radio, so what ends up happening is that you have to manually program them until we release a program that has the new ones, which we don't have yet. We go custom, but it's cool because you can set up to do whatever you want. So you're going to clear it if it says anything. All right. So now, if you go over here, you're going to have volume up, volume down. I mean, song up, song down, and then whatever you want with this one, and then you got, let's do volume up first to show you. So you're going to hold down volume up, and then you're going to do volume up, and it's programmed. Volume down, and do volume down, and it's programmed. Now we're going to do Song up is the other one, and then song down when it's programmed. Try to do a nice roll. Sometimes it won't take it. You might have to do it twice. All right, so now we're going to do mute. So we're going to hold down the mute, and we're going to push in on the volume button, and that program's mute. Now, let's do the phone button. This is the phone button. Okay, so we're going to do pickup. You can actually reverse it, which is nice about this radio. So pickup is 1 touch. All right. Hang up is going to be 2 touches. So 1, 2 is hang up. And then voice, we're going to program it to hold. All right. So that one button does all 3. Now, on a regular radio, that's just the way it's programmed, but you can actually switch it around and do whatever you want. All right. Now, we already programmed mute, so now we have this button. So this button you can do play or pause, or you could do source. On my car, I would rather do play and pause. So do that, and you hold it down. Now, what's great about this radio is that you have everything now. You know, all the buttons. Mode button, for you guys that have Bluetooth phone, what that does is that takes this screen between the phone screen and the radio screen. So that is not part of radio control, okay? So there we go. So we're going to go back, and we're going to hope everything took. Let me go to, I can't play audio because of music copyright, so I'm going to do volume up. Oh, that's up, that's down. Alright, down works. So if you scroll it, it seeks. You go quick. So you actually have to, see what I mean? But if you just do one at a time, it's stuck. But if you do one at a time, it goes to your presets, okay? Now, we're going to do volume up, volume down, and we're going to mute. So, they're all working. I actually got to go and pop in this Pioneer radio real quick. For you guys that are wondering, look, this isn't going anywhere, because I know a lot of you guys are wondering. It's a it's a single chassis, it's not going in. What the hell? But, as you can see right there, it's working perfect. Alright? Anyway, that's how you program it. If you guys are a shop, we do wholesale accounts. We sell, we install, we ship worldwide. Our stuff is pretty much second to none. You know, we pretty much, I have to put my my stamp on everything. Let me just turn off this air before we ship anything out. So that's it. If you guys like this video, do me a favor, give it a like. If you use it to install your stuff with other stuff, be like, you know, let me know too. Put it down, give it a like. Especially if you use my video to install other people's product, you better give it a like. If you really like this kind of videos, you can subscribe to our channel and see more. If you really like this stuff and you like watching our videos, you can actually get a notification every time we put up a video. We don't put up a lot of videos, so it won't get annoying, I promise you. Everything used here except for the radio is Enfig car stereo in-house piece, and that's about it. EnfigCarstereo.com. My name is Christian. Thank you so much for watching.